up a hippopotamus's bottom.
Depot Devoid.
Depot Devoid!
I am now injecting directly into the nerve chamber.
Depot
Up
Devoid.
a hippopotamus's bottom.
Well, god damn it, Matt, the Social Security office fucked me in the ass again, and it wasn't even nice this time.
It was nice last time?
Well, I mean, hey, maybe it wasn't the Social Security office, but I'm just saying, the Social Security office, the goddamn government got their whole monopoly on the ass.
Look, all I'm hearing whenever you say Social Security off, maybe it's my audio equipment, but all I'm hearing is socialism, something about socialism, and it sounds like what you're saying is that, like all true Americans, you are angry about socialism and how it touched you on your mustn't touch it.
Hey, you know what? Maybe socialism got the better of me this time.
You finally laid down for socialism.
Yeah, I'm seeming to be bent over by socialism.
So things are going well, is what you're saying?
Hey, you know what? $68 to $80 to get one single piece of paper in 6 to 9 months from now, when they're all standing back there being like, I mean, I can look at it right now, and I have the physical ability to print it out or email it to you, but I don't get to.
Huh. That sounds like maybe an unnecessary aspect of bureaucracy.
Yes, and you know what? After the many hours that I dealt with today, and the even greater number of hours I've dealt with over the last several weeks trying to get just this one small thing so I can present it to my lawyers for my divorce. And literally all it is a piece of paper that says how much money I have legitimately made since I've started working as a human being in the United States of America.
That seems a simple enough request. And might I propose that maybe what America needs is some sort of department that oversees various aspects of efficiency within the government.
Yeah, and here's the fun
oh
part.
My god,
too,
I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth. I feel sick to my stomach.
With Social Security, I have been on SSA.org or SSA.gov before and done what I need to do with them, but they've apparently purged a bunch of old data, and so I can't get into it anymore on my own thing. And I'm trying to set up a new account, and it's like, well, also we need to verify that it's your face and your real ID. It's like, well, that's your face. But we don't trust that ID, which is the real ID that I spent, $35 fucking extra to get.
So what is the ID that they want that is somehow more identifying? Yes. What is, is there a realer ID?
Well,
is it a hyper real ID?
I mean, if I could get the hyper real, like getting the short line at fucking, Disney World or some shit ID, that would be great. But with this, it's like, you have 6 chances. It's much like Little Bunny Foo-Foo times 2. But every 6th chance I expend when trying to log in, it's like, well, now you got to wait 6 hours, dipshit. And it's like, oh, motherfucker, I keep giving you my goddamn ID, and you're like, nah, that's not good enough. You can't give us this and get what you need. I spent over 2 hours and 15 minutes on hold with them this morning because I'd already tried calling them, and that was to no avail because there was like, well, it's going to be 70 minutes before you get on. but I was like, well, it's before I go to work, pop in the earbud. I'm like, well, maybe I'll be able to get through before I get to work. And I get to work and it cuts off before I get inside. And so I pop it back in and I call him again. It's like 90 minutes before you can play now. And it was over 2 hours. It was 2 hours and 15 minutes the last time I checked before they're like, hey, it's time. And also my earbud wasn't connecting to my phone in the speaker. So I had to like quickly go boop, boop, back to the phone, step away from the desk.
It's almost like taking a gigantic shit all over every government agency didn't make things run more smoothly.
No, not at all. And I'm talking to the lady there and she's like, well, I can't actually give you the information that you need and I can't help you set anything up. But which button did you click on the website when you tried to create your new thing? I was like, I don't fucking know. Well, was it this website or this one? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Was it the blue button or the green button? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, well, what were your prompts? I was like, and what were your problems? Like, this was what the issue was. She's like, oh, you clicked the blue button. So try the green button next time. But you'll probably have better luck if you end up just like going down to a social security office. Also, you can go to the DMV and not make an appointment. I'm like, great, many more hours everywhere.
Why would their website include a button that just ruins everything?
Well, it's not that it ruins everything. It's just that those outsourced buttons lead to two different fucking websites that are monitored by probably not even government things.
It's just ICE.
Yeah.
You just launched an ICE raid.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so they're coming to get me, I'm sure. I mean, look at this beard. Obviously, I probably am a Muslim or something.
Well, I mean, the beard is something you clearly grew to hide the fact that you're secretly brown.
Well, I mean, summer's a coming. I'm getting browner every day. But good God, it's been amazing. And then when I did, because she was like, if you go to the Social Security office, if you're having these problems with setting up the login for the website, they will be able to put one together for you, if nothing else. But they also can print out your report that you need. So I go down there and I wait for, I don't know, hour and a half, whatever. I asked if I could leave work early and I was like given the okay to do that. I'm like, I'll make up my time. I will be in early tomorrow. I'll do everything that I need to do, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, don't worry about it. We got you, Ted. And went over there and I did that and I wait. And then like I walk into the fucking Social Security office and the security officer who's apparently supposed to be manning the front door, which BT dubs, I didn't know was a thing. But there's an armed officer at the front door. Abandoned his post. I just walk in, get my little card, my little ticket that has my number on it, have a seat, and he just fucking side-eyes me for the whole time that I'm sitting there like, who's this motherfucker and how'd he get in? But it doesn't even one time come up to me and say anything. He just glares at me, which, I just made a point of looking around shifty the rest of the time that I'm there.
You sort of like scratch under your nose a lot, and
yeah, and it's also like a great time of year for allergies. So I'm like,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
And I'm sitting directly in front of his desk, but he doesn't even say a word. He's stopping everybody else and being like pretty shitty. But I'm sitting over there, haven't been talked to by him, and sniffing a lot directly in front of his desk. And God, so I finally do get to go up and talk to the guy. And he's like, oh, yeah, don't worry. Doop, 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 pushing on his computer. He's like, I'll do everything I can to help you. Don't know how far I'll get, but I can at least get you set up with an account here. Blah, blah, blah. I'll delete the old information from your stuff. It's still up here, but yeah, it's no longer connected. That's gone, so you won't want to do that when you're setting up yours. But let's get started. Oh, I can't do that. Let me try the other way. They change our ability to do things a lot around here. I am supposed to be able to do this, but I can't today. I might be able to tomorrow, but not today. Like, God damn it. He's like, yep.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I mean, that's so frustrating. And I'm sure it's probably really frustrating for him too, to just constantly have to like tell people that he's unexpectedly unable to do his job because they just changing their access.
And there was a lot of shouting that happened at the windows while I was there today. And, you know, I was clearly a frustrated individual before I got up there, and I was double frustrated when I left. I was like, you know what? I mean, thank you for trying. I appreciate your attempt. And he's like, well, yeah, thank you for, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope you have a great day. And he's like, yeah, and happy 4th of July to you in a couple of days. Yep.
Feeling
So
so
here's a piece of paper.
patriotic.
There's when you try and set up your account and it doesn't work again, it's kind of hidden down here, but there's one spot you can click on and it'll have a phone number that you can call for help to set it up. I was like, where I can be on hold for 3 hours again and not get anything done. He's like, yep,
That's the one.
that's it. I'm like, so I'm not going to get anywhere, right? And he's like, well, based on your whole experience today,
Probably not.
what do you think? Like, well, thanks again for trying. And then I go out to my car and I call my lawyers off. I was like, hey, this is Ted Fig and I'm a client and here's a problem. You guys need this for a thing. And I keep trying, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it to you. And I'm doing my best, but I'm being told no at every angle. And I know that we need it right now. Should we move forward with it or not? And the lady that I got a hold of who answered the phone was like, well, Mr. Fagan, I have actually already drafted your response paperwork and said that you are doing your best to get it. And it's not working because you already told us that you're trying and you've got a little bit more time at least.
Okay, at least.
Well,
good Lord.
That's something. I'm trying.
I'm trying. We're all fucking trying.
Hey, it's also like really arbitrary garbage paperwork that doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's just busy work, basically.
No, nobody actually needs this information to get a divorce. It's like we're just trying to make things difficult for everybody. And
pretty much.
For the record, getting a divorce is a pain in the ass. And it well, based on my having been working on it for my second time, it gets worse every time. But you know what? The answer is if it's bad, do get a divorce and don't do what all those people on TV do on those crime shows.
Murder each other?
What?
Murder each other?
Yeah, no murder.
Oh, okay. Well,
murder's
right.
not the answers.
I mean, maybe not the answer to marriage, but I don't think that you can just make a blanket statement that murder's not the answer, because it's the answer to some things.
Hey, Sling Blade, that was right.
To quote Taranga Leela, violence never solved anything except for conflict.
Yes. This is true.
Ted, this is the Depot Devoid.
I thought this was my social security problems. I got into the wrong chat room.
This is the Depot Devoid, and you are Ted Fagan.
No, I'm not.
I am Matt Fagan. And today is July 2nd, 2025, which is exactly 1 year since we published the first episode of the Depot Devoid podcast. So, has anything changed for you since then?
Actually, I'm pretty sure that it's basically the same. I still like cheese. I still enjoy my job. I still have a beard.
You're less married than you were.
I am definitely becoming less married day to day.
I don't think you actually had nearly that much beard in the first episode, but the first few episodes we only published audio, so I would have to go digging to actually prove that.
All right. You know what? I had less mustache for sure.
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, I was considering the whole integrated hair module of the face as beard. But if you want to break it down into quadrants, then yes, I can confidently say you had less mustache, but maybe a similar amount of beard.
I also did have less Dreamcatcher.
That is true. What else has changed? Well, one thing it's hard to because, as some people know, we were recording this podcast for more than a year and a half before we actually started publishing episodes of the podcast, and also started publishing them in no particular order. So if people were to, listen to the show in the order it came out, there might be occasional moments of confusion.
Oh, I did get new tires. They were getting bald.
That was a big part of our first episode. I feel like I've learned a little bit about putting an episode together. Maybe not much, but I feel like I learned a little bit. I have learned that I say a lot. Like
we
that.
both do, but I'm a little bit better. I also have learned that I should not say indeed as much as in my general lexicon. I am lacking. However,
that a lot
I learned that from a weatherman many years ago.
You learned to say indeed, or you learned that you should stop?
I learned that I should stop, and I also learned that I should always speak with confidence and need to make sure that when I get lost on a tangent that I can tell a story.
I remember that.
Yes,
I remember that story.
I believe I told it twice.
It is in some episode somewhere.
It's in 2 episodes, I believe.
We do have, well, it's in at least one published episode.
Understood.
It may or may not actually be in another episode that has not yet been revealed. There are still a number of them waiting in the wings, although we have published a number of episodes sort of in order. This one I'm intending to publish next because, it's a celebration of our first year of whatever this is that we're doing, which is fun for me, at least. And I think that some of what we put out there is entertaining. It's hard to be objective about that. I don't know. Maybe it's boring. Not many people listen to it, so I don't get a lot of feedback.
I've had feedback from a few people that I know that are like, "Hey, I've been listening to your podcast and it's been entertaining."
Well, that's cool.
You and your brother have a lot of fun.
I don't really know people, so I don't hear people say things to me. The only person that I know is my partner, and we generally, after I publish an episode, we put on the YouTube video of the episode sometime in the following week in the morning, and watch that together, and he enjoys it, and shakes his head a lot and says, "Oh, you too," because he's old. That's what they say.
Well, and we're a couple of dorks.
That is hard to argue with. I just ended that sentence with a preposition. I'm sure an English teacher somewhere is getting ready to smack me upside the head.
You are absolutely wrong. They keep changing the way that English works all the time.
They do, but I ignore all of the changes, and I adhere strictly to the rules that I was taught, and I refuse to acknowledge any updates.
That's honestly reasonable. Last time I paid any attention to that was when they told me that I am not supposed to put a comma in between the last thing that I'm supposed to put a comma in between when I'm putting commas in my sentence about, and then this, and then this, and then this. Was like, fuck you, that goddamn last comma keeps going in.
That's the Oxford comma debate, and I think that that's honestly just a matter of preference. I think
it only matters in newspaper writing, and newspaper writing doesn't really exist anymore.
Probably not. The newspaper writing that we get in our newspaper is certainly not anything that I would classify as journalism that I understand.
3 day a week paper that shows up that's written by 90% not people there?
Yeah, it's mostly just like AP stuff now. And there's a couple of local things that get stuck in there. And like the paper, in Pendleton is the same thing, except with a different banner headline. It's pretty
Do they
bad.
at least still publish the crime record?
I don't know. I never look.
That was
Here's what I use the newspaper for is to make paper mache to make masks. I don't really find any value in our local newspaper otherwise.
the only thing I ever used it for when I went to town and when I actually got the paper when I lived there was crime record, so I could see who I knew that got arrested, which always checked when I would go back to town if I had a newspaper, but I wasn't going to buy it. And crossword puzzle, Sudoku.
That's
These-
fair.
These are the necessary things.
I
Who
wouldn't
do
buy a
think got
paper
busted?
for it.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't buy a paper just for that. They actually, I know that they stopped putting that used to be able to see all of the mugshots on the Union County website, and they stopped doing that, which that sucked. I always liked that. I like to go through the mugshots and see when I recognize people. I don't
It's
know people,
fun.
but sometimes I recognize the people getting arrested.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of neat to actually see these things. I mean, here's a weird one, and don't know if this ever actually needs to be in the show. I don't really give a flying fuck. When I was 13 years old, I thought I was like cool as hell because I slept with a 25-year-old girl, and I thought that meant that I was like rad as fuck. And then later I realized I super got molested. And then many years later, in another town, being Eugene, I got that woman arrested for trespassing at the production facility for a brewery that I was working at, and I didn't realize that it was her until I found her mugshot later. I was like, "Oh shit, that was her."
That's a special connection.
So hey, internet mugshots. Sometimes you find some pretty special stuff in there.
Yeah, that's a gem. You don't want to miss that.
Yeah, no, that's like that's like top notch mugshot action.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So we were maybe going to talk about a movie, but I mean, I don't know if we even need to. But we were gonna. What I originally suggested was that we talk about Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and first of all, Bill watched it with me. Good for him. Like he watched the whole thing and he laughed a lot.
It's a fantastic movie.
How do you feel in general about horror comedies? Because some people have very strong opinions. Are you one of those people?
So I love the horror comedy movies that I have seen. I don't know if what is the knockoff of Scream movies?
Scary Movie, which is
Never seen
ironically the actual production title of Scream.
Which I thought was hilarious when you
Yeah.
told me that.
Yeah.
Never.
You've never
never
seen
seen
Scary Movie? I
thought they made
actually
movies.
they did, yes. The first one I enjoy. I liked Scary Movie No Number. It's clever, it's got a good cast. It is very much a spoof, where most of the sequences are explicit parodies of things that you recognize. It's mostly structurally a parody of Scream, but doesn't limit itself exclusively to Scream. The whole franchise is headed by Anna Faris as the fake Sidney Prescott character, and she's fantastic. The movies they quickly become just utter garbage.
Right.
But I enjoy the first one. It's not, I mean, it's not garbage. I mean,
Yeah.
but it's it's not bad. But it's also the spoof movie is probably the least interesting aspect of horror comedies. You know what I mean? Like Scary Movie or Saturday the 14th, which we were also talking about. And I'm still interested in doing that just because that was my first horror comedy as a kid, you know?
It's mine too, and I haven't seen it since I was 8 years old. I don't actually remember it at all. Sorry, I'll let you finish your thing.
That's good. Yeah, I think that those are far less interesting than, say, like, you know, Evil Dead 2 is arguably a horror comedy, and Tucker and Dale is not. I mean, there are spoof elements of Tucker and Dale, but it's more specifically like an inversion of a really specific type of horror movie, and it plays within that framework, but it's definitely not cheap and winky the way something like Scary Movie is. It doesn't have the same level of gags in its execution. There are definitely gags in this movie, but they are smarter.
Yep. Now, I know Saturday the 14th is the first horror comedy movie that I saw, but I really don't remember it. What I don't honestly consider Evil Dead 2 to be a horror comedy. I think that was Sam Raimi still trying to do the same thing, but I don't know why the fuck he named it Evil Dead 2 when it was just a remake of Evil Dead. Don't know, don't care. There's been too many Evil Deads made at this point. I still haven't seen the last one that was made, unless they made another one. But Army of Darkness is the first horror comedy that I remember watching. And it's absolutely a fabulous, fabulous film. Want to watch it a billion times over and over again. One of my favorites. Really want to get into Ash versus the Evil Dead. I started trying to watch that a few years ago, and it got shut down by TV being usurped by somebody that didn't want to play fun, which is fine. Sometimes that's not up to somebody's standard, but you know, sometimes also other people want to watch the TV too.
There are definitely things that I don't get to watch much because we share a space, and
it's a thing.
And yeah, you make compromises.
Exactly, and that's perfectly okay. But Tucker and Dale versus Evil is 100% within my wheelhouse. One of my favorite goddamn ridiculous bullshit movies, and I've only seen it 3 times, I think, and I could watch it 1,000 more. I got completely sidetracked doing other shit with it this time, but that doesn't mean that I didn't appreciate every bit that I saw of it. It's beautiful.
Bill has become a big fan of Alan Tudyk, and so that was sort of how I lured him into watching this movie. And I figured he could handle it because, as I might have mentioned, I actually convinced him this past Friday the 13th to watch the 2009 remake of Friday the 13th, which I
Rob Zombie.
No. He did a remake of Halloween, which was ass.
Okay.
No, the
Friday the 13th remake, huh?
Yeah, honestly, I'm a fan, and I know that may not be a popular thing to hear. I am not, in general, a big lover of the Friday the 13th franchise. So I will preface it by saying that. So
I've only ever seen one of them.
And anyone listening, that should cast a shadow across everything that I'm saying. I understand why people love that franchise. I am not that into it. The execution is so poor on many occasions. I it's got some clever horror gags, but it's not suspenseful or interesting most of the time. And there are a couple of standouts, but overall, I think it's kind of a weak franchise. And I think what the 2009 remake does is it takes sort of the highlight reel of Friday the 13th parts 1, 2, and 3 and strips away the fat and kind of finds ways to make sense of the events of those movies so that they can present this story in a way that is exciting and interesting and has like some backstory to it. It has momentum, and I enjoyed it. I think it has all the elements that people love from Friday the 13th movies, and it doesn't try to reinvent the wheel. It adds nothing. Like it doesn't do anything new. And I don't think you need to, because it's not there to be a sequel. It's there to be instead. And that's what I showed Bill, and he enjoyed it. And he was like he wasn't scared, but I think he sort of appreciated what was going on. And like I talked to him about what it was going to be, and he liked it. And several times during, like at 4 separate occasions, he was like, "So many ways to die." Like, see, you get it. You understand. That's what this genre is. And yeah, I think I was very impressed that he was able to do that and sort of like enjoy it the way a fan might. And with that in our rear view mirror, I figured there's no way that Tucker and Dale was going to be too intense, because it also has comedy and the star of Resident Alien, so he was going to enjoy it, and he thoroughly did.
That's awesome.
Here's how I first saw this movie. Back in Chicago, when I had the comic book store, I had a gentleman who I would refer to as the bootleg guy, who pretty much all the time when he came in, he would bring me some weird thing he had burned to disc. A bunch of episodes of some show I've never heard of, or just what I watched a lot of 1-season science fiction shows because this guy,
great.
Yeah, it was awesome. He just brought me great weird shit, and I loved it. And he was the guy who would hook me up with British shows that I couldn't fucking get in the States. And sometimes he would just bring me stuff I had no idea existed. And one day he brought me this. And this was before the movie had come out. Like it had never been released anywhere. And I brought it home and I watched it with my boyfriend Rob, and we're like, this is fucking amazing. This is the best movie I've seen in like 3 years. And then it just like it never came out. And then many months later at the store, we would occasionally get promotional shit at the store that we would give out. Yeah, we get screeners, we get swag, we would get like passes to stuff. I got to see Hellboy for free at a screening preview. That's how I saw Shaun of the Dead. But anyway, I get a call from Magnolia Releasing, and they're like, we've got some stuff for some upcoming releases we're putting out. We'd be interested in this. You're interested in this. And then she mentions Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I'm like, holy shit, Tucker and Dale. And she was like, I have been calling people for 6 hours, and you are the first person who has ever heard of this movie, much less seen it. And I was like, send me everything. And I had like Tucker and Dale, like fucking like foam front trucker hats and like beer cozies and shit. It was awesome. I don't know what happened to that stuff, but I was so excited. And yeah, that was one of the movies that when people would come in, I would just try to force that on everybody. I fucking loved it so much.
That's fantastic.
There are people who just hate all horror comedies, and this movie is definitely not going to be for them. But if you're like me, where that I enjoy some comedy with my horror, I think that it doesn't work with everything, because comedy completely evaporates suspense. So if you are trying to really build any tension, like that's not going to happen. So if that's all you want, if that's the kind of vibe you need from your horror movie, then no, you are not going to get that from this. But if you have some level of appreciation for what horror comedies can do, Tucker and Dale is like it. Tucker and Dale gets it, and it really like it. There, it is a clever movie that makes use of the tropes of what you expect from the genre of a group of shitty college kids goes into the woods to get murdered by hillbillies. Like, how that story plays out, and with that knowledge, this movie has a really good time with your expectations. And
They bridge the gap.
yeah, I love it. And I I think it I don't know, it's the climax is a bit wanting. I hadn't seen this in a while, and so I had a memory of sort of where the movie started to lose me, and it held with that. Where it's a terrific movie. It's a lot of fun, and the climax is a little bit too typical. The climax does not continue to do with the genre what the rest of the movie has done. It plays out more according to expectation.
Yes.
And that's okay. And it's, I mean, I think it earns a misstep by that point. There's a lot of goodwill along the way. I wish that, honestly, what it comes down to is I didn't need the backstory with the college kid and the other slasher that happened before. Like, that was, I understand why they chose to go that route, but honestly, I didn't need any of that. That was too much like the Cabin in the Woods movie. It was too much like what the movie was making fun of, rather than, it became the thing that it was parodying, and that's a problem that happens sometimes.
And here's how connected I am. I assumed Cabin in the Woods was a romance comedy.
I was not actually referring to the movie The Cabin in the Woods. I was just referring to the genre, the umbrella statement of The Cabin in the Woods.
Well, I mean, am I wrong about what I thought?
The movie The Cabin in the Woods is also a movie that builds itself by subverting expectations of the horror genre in a completely different way from this one. I would also fully recommend Cabin in the Woods, another movie which I've gotten Bill to watch and he enjoyed. You would probably appreciate it more than Bill did, just because you know more horror movies than Bill does, even just tangentially, because there's a big sequence in The Cabin in the Woods that rewards the scope of your familiarity with the horror genre, if that makes sense. And Bill's is quite narrow, and yours is narrower than mine, but probably much broader than Bill's. I don't think Bill has ever seen a horror movie that I did not personally show to him.
Understood.
I would be shocked if he had. So let's take a quick break. And
here's a message from our sponsors.
I hope it's a good one.
I love evil. I love evil.
I love evil too.
I love evil.
I love evil. I just love it. God damn, I love evil.
I like evil so much, I bought the company.
Oh my goodness. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to whatever we are doing here today.
All the prefacing has been gone.
Let me re-preface.
The curtain is dropped.
All right. Here we are on the second half of this recording, which is not going to be about Tucker and Dale versus evil for a while. Here's what's going to happen instead. I bet you weren't expecting this. I am going to read you a poem, ladies and gentlemen. This is a poem that I wrote. It is a children's poem, as if I had children, which I don't. And thank God for that, because this is apparently what would have happened if I had them. This poem, as you've probably already surmised, is called Up a Hippopotamus's Bottom. Children, have I ever spun you the yarn of the world we left behind? Of why we started a brand new life in the most perfect place we could find? Your father and I, we love riding camels and reading biology books about mammals. We love drawing castles on dry erase boards and swallowing gumdrops and swallowing swords. We're passionate people with passionate friends and imaginations galore. They saw what we loved, so they helped us find ways to love all those things even more. If a wizard enchanted our dry erase markers, and we drew on a board made of minotaur wings, could we sit on the throne of our dry erase castle and declare that no one was king? Riding camels was fun, we thought, but why not improvise? Why not carry a dromedary in a shoulder bag with leather ties? Or cruise together on the highway with the top down just to feel alive? Maybe share a moment. Maybe let the camel drive. Or what if we got to the end of the textbook and added blank pages we stole from a grue and drew on those pages with xanthian pencils? Could we make new mammals and name them all too? We were having so much fun, we didn't see the signs that some killjoys didn't like the way we played. We were busy being magical and making cool stuff, but they really didn't like the stuff we made. They came with red faces, so perfect for shouting. They came with black rain clouds worn over their hats. They shouted a lot with unmusical voices and pointed their fingers and oiled their bats. They didn't approve of the fun we were having, or the jubilant way that we tended to groove. More noisy and numerous every new morning, they demanded we change, or failing that, move. Our games became quiet. Our smiles were shrinking. Too many bullies were dimming our glow. Your father and I did some serious thinking. Maybe we should leave. But where would we go? Narnia was big enough, but the seasons are a pain. Candyland was sweet enough, but awful when it rains. The land of Oz is lovely, but there's poison in the sand, and a sign proclaims no dogs allowed at the beach in Wonderland. Gallifrey and Neverland and Marvel 616, every place had problems that your dad and I can't fix. But your father is a genius, and I'm a ninja necromancer, and together we came up with quite an unexpected answer. We'd leave all our boring old houses behind and pack up our bindles and wagons. We'd need a tall ladder and plenty of flashlights and something to plant our new flag in. We'd build our new homes and grow hundreds of trees and have it all ready by autumn. All of our friends and their children and pets were going up a hippopotamus's bottom. So we called the librarians and called the cartoonists and called all the dorks and the cooks. We called all the people with beautiful gardens and the people with beautiful books. We called on the empaths, the volunteer docents, the people who struggle with pride. We called all the folks who have jobs waiting tables but much bigger dreams on the side. The socially awkward, the slightly too noisy, the people who really like birds, skater boys, horse girls, kind-hearted weirdos, and all of the flavors of nerds. We packed up our board games and comic collections and our fanciest colorful socks and every single copy of The Catcher in the Rye and a jar with some really cool rocks. We packed He-Man toys and finger puppets and a bunch of hula hoops and skirts that billow when you spin around and those Hot Wheels tracks with the loop-de-loops. We packed ancient tomes of powerful magic and crossword puzzles too, and Dungeons and Dragons and pie and bicycles and cowboy hats and kung fu. Everything we ever loved, we packed them up and brought them and went to start a whole new life up a hippopotamus's bottom. We built a bunch of bungalows and a great big art museum. Your father made an artificial sun. We filled up all the pastures with the mammals we invented, and then we made some new ones just for fun. It was a fixer-upper, but we all pitched in to help. And the hippo liked to have us all around. So now we draw and paint and dance and play and ride and sing. What more perfect place could we have found? We grow our own food here. We put in a skylight. We have interlibrary loan. Our space program's making impressive advances, and I learned to play the trombone. Then you kids were born, and you rode your bicycles and climbed trees till the branches ran out. You dressed up in costumes and wrote a rock opera to explain what your dreams were about. Yes, you belong with us, my dears. You live with such delight. You play too hard and love too hard and cry when things aren't right. So please, stay here and make your things and read your books and grow your wings. And when it's time, you'll fly outside and soar. You'll soar above the red-faced crowds, unaffected by their clouds, which never rained on your parades before. You'll soar like dragons. You'll soar like angels. You'll soar like supersonic UFOs. And if some emperor gives you guff or says that you're not good enough, you'll tell him that he hasn't any clothes. Because you don't genuflect for naked kings when you have rock operas and magic wings. And you don't need to fall for their jealous schemes because we gave you gumdrops and high self-esteem. Your father and I, this home that we made, this was the right thing to do. But you kids will grow up and you'll have your own dreams, and those dreams will be the right things for you. There will be villains, but you will oppose them. And I'll help you learn how to spot them. And you'll always be welcome, should you choose to return, up a hippopotamus's bottom. And it's important to remember that none of this is meant to be funny.
No, it's not. And I love it, and it also makes me really sad.
It was weird. When I randomly encountered the phrase up a hippopotamus's bottom in an unrelated context on a British comedy panel show where they were talking about hippos and their feces. This entire story, it appeared actually twice simultaneously in my head as this story in poem form, and also as a painting for my show, which is not exactly this narrative, but there's a painting that has to occur of a child essentially retreating to the magical space up a hippopotamus's bottom with like a reading lamp and a book, and it's a sanctuary. It's the idea of a magical space of sanctuary that exists like in real life up a hippopotamus's bottom. I defy you to prove that that is not what can be found there.
Hey, you know what? I have never ventured inside of the bottom of a hippopotamus. So I cannot confirm nor deny. And also, you know what? Hey, It's a lot better place than going into the hippopotamus's mouth.
I mean, at least as described here. They they have interlibrary loan.
Yeah. And the hippopotamus's mouth is just like where you crush watermelons. But no, I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. There's a lot of happiness and a lot of pain both inside that, and I appreciate it.
There is definitely
Also,
a wistfulness born of maybe a personal sense of being less than fully supported by my own parent.
it's a thing, and also the Seussian tone and cadence was very proper. Like I have never actually heard proper Seussian cadence from anybody other than him. Even when he was retired and somebody else was picking up his stories and pretending to be Dr. Seuss still. Never hit it. That was good.
Thank you. I'm working on refining it I mean, I've made several changes here and there. There are still a few stanzas that feel weird in my mouth, and I'm working on it. But yeah, I feel like there are moments where if it were just text on a page, someone who'd never seen it before might struggle with finding the way it's supposed to be spoken. And ideally, that wouldn't happen. If I can find that correct words where it tells you how to read it, that's kind of what I'm looking for, and I'm getting closer. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with where it is going. I feel like the story is complete, and some things can shift within it. But I'm pretty pleased with it, and I think I'll probably end up doing a little illustrated zine comic of this story to make available at my gallery show in a couple of years. And it as I was working on this, I was wondering, like, would it be like too vulgar just to call the show Up a Hippopotamus's Bottom? Like, that's
no.
I feel like
I don't think so.
Like, it's like the whimsy is apparent in that phrase, right? I mean,
Yeah, 100%.
Sometimes I get too close to something, and I can't tell if it's funny or weird or gross anymore.
Like Icarus, you have flown too close to the sun.
It happens to me a lot, especially when if I'm working on a show that requires a lot of time and sort of descending into a lot of individual pieces of artwork, and then it becomes increasingly difficult to see it for what it is. And then once in a while, maybe someone else will look at it, and I'll see it through their eyes for a moment. I'll be like, oh, wait a minute, this is all really weird. I forgot. So,
nah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping the whole show is intended to be kind of like on that level of children's entertainment. You know, it should be a little dirty, the way kids like things a little dirty, but not gross. I basically I need to hit a note where it's weird and gross enough to be interesting for kids, but also not so weird and gross that their parents won't take them to see it. That's the line that I have to walk. And I feel like for the most part, Up a Hippopotamus's Bottom is fairly benign.
When is your show?
It won't be until September of 2027.
Well,
So,
then stop right now and listen to the awesome, obvious idea that you clearly haven't figured out, you stupid old man. In the Hippopotamus's Autumn. And then play with more things with Hippopotamus and Autumn, and then stick them up his bottom.
The thing is, I feel like I can get away with a lot of things on the inside of the gallery.
A hippopotamus in Autumn.
But if I were to actually call the show Up a Hippopotamus's Bottom, then that's like what's on all the posters around town.
Yeah.
And there's also like, I fear that there could be people who are just like, I'm not going to put that poster up on my public bulletin board.
Yes, but with the hippopotamus in Autumn, then you
I would
tie it in.
I would love to do like a 2-story tall, like a gigantic cutout of a hippopotamus's ass that frames the doorway into the art center. Because I don't know if you remember, but it has like that double stairway that goes up to the door because the actual entrance is elevated. So you could basically have the legs straddling it, and the people would have to climb the stairs to enter the hippopotamus's bottom to go see the show.
I really enjoyed at Eastern Oregon University. Geez, I guess it would have been like 22, maybe 23 years ago, when they were doing the vagina monologues and the No Name Theater at, geez, what is that building? Starts with an L.
Is that in Loso
Hall? Yeah. And what they'd set up for that was a cattle gate that you have the cattle go through. So you have a lever, and they use like red plastic wrap to make it all red and lippy and built a clip.
Lippy.
And you give them your ticket, and then they like, and you have to go through the cattle gate through the lips of the vagina to get into the vagina monologues.
Nice.
It was great. I appreciated all the work that they went through for that. Some people had a really good time building that.
I imagine that would have been a really fun project. I suspect that even if I were to ask, I would be told I am not allowed to cover the entire front of the art center with a giant hippopotamus ass for like the duration of my show, which would be like 2 months.
Probably not, but it'd be cool.
I'm honestly like, I'm struggling to name the show. And I haven't, I mean, I realize it's still like 2 years out, but I've been working on it for over a year now already. And I haven't really talked about it anywhere on social media or even put anything on my own personal website because I don't have a name. And I feel weird like trying to talk about a show that doesn't have a name. And so I've just been holding off, but I can't land on anything.
Well, what else is going on in your show?
Well, it grows out of the painting, the paintings that I showed at the library a couple of years ago, which that show was 17 canvases. And my approach with those works was basically, I was doing a lot of sort of weird whimsical stuff, but
This was the thumb stuff?
Yes, yeah, it's
okay.
The show was called Thumb Wars and Story Monsters, and it was all about strange creatures and magical events. But the idea was that everything that was captured on canvas implied a greater story behind it, and every canvas in the show had to have at least one direct visual reference to another canvas in the same show to imply greater relationships between the moments that you were encountering.
So in that case, we're absolutely not going to be able to call it Thumbs Up the Hippopotamus's Bottom.
I feel like that would be a mistake. There are a lot of thumbs in the show that will make no sense to listeners. I love that. There are a lot of canvases that feature characters that began as Halloween costumes. There are a lot of canvases featuring Hot Rod and Moondog, the pair of interdimensional, possibly super heroic, occasionally crime-solving dogs that Bill and I created for Halloween one year.
Plus crime-solving butlers, I assume.
Yes, you will also encounter Hobson and Chives, the super heroic crime-fighting butlers, who are also a couple. There is Shannon, the Sasquatch waitress. There is Morahar, the silver wizard character that we made for Bill one year. All of these characters kind of coexist within this world, and also a lot of explicit references to flavors of my childhood, that sort of Saturday morning cartoon, breakfast cereal, time for timer, Ultraman kind of area that I feel comfort in. This is very much grown out of the fact that everything around me is terrifying. And I am finding solace not only in thinking about times when I felt safer, but also I think when I look at the things that resonate with me from childhood, things like the Super Friends or Thundar the Barbarian or Ultraman, the things that, I mean, besides just the physical beauty that I find in the artwork of those, I am drawn to the simplicity where evil is identifiable and people actually want to stop it. And because the world is not providing me with the sense that not only that evil is defeated, but that evil is opposed, I am reaching for those things.
I understand what you mean entirely.
And I am trying to do that in a way that is not explicitly making that statement, because that statement is true, but also boring, you know? So I'm trying very hard not to be political with my artwork, not because artwork shouldn't be political, but because that's not the kind of artist I am. And I don't want to feel forced to turn this show into something that it wasn't meant to be. Not that I can't make that kind of artwork, but that's not this isn't the show that I'm making it for. And so I'm trying to allow that motivation to be implicit rather than explicit. And it's, again, like a difficult line to walk, I think. And I fully believe that I can sneak that motivation. I can sort of smuggle it into a show that children will see and maybe along the way take something away from it accidentally, if that makes sense.
I like it. And honestly, again, with the Dr. Seuss cadence and tone, it makes sense and it feels right. And it's a really, and it started out really entertaining and fun, and then it gets into a spot where it's like, fuck, you got to look back at what everything else is going on here. And I really appreciated that.
I found myself, again, I think the Up a Hippopotamus's Bottom is another example of me trying to find that balance with the impulse, because when the story appeared in my head, the concept of the bullies growing in force and creating this situation where the protagonists have no choice but to retreat to the magical space up a hippopotamus's bottom. There was a much greater focus on the bad guys.
Yeah.
And I spent much more time talking about them in the earlier drafts. And I was just like, you know what? I don't want to give them that much breath, you know?
Yeah.
It's there and it's important, and you can't tell the story without saying why we did this, but also they don't deserve the number of words that I was giving them.
They
And so
absolutely don't.
I took most of them away, and I'm hoping that I left in only what was absolutely necessary to get the job done. And that's kind of what I want to do with some of the paintings is just to not be like this is the message, but that the message is there, so you just kind of can't help but internalize it. And
Right.
and I don't know to what extent I will be successful. And a lot of it is, it's not all message. Some of it is just a lot. What I'm proud of is that I feel like I'm achieving just lighthearted fun sometimes. I'm actually striking, like some of these paintings are just silly because that's what I want to be able to be. And I feel like doing something lighthearted and apolitical is like almost protest art on its own.
Right.
And it may be less obvious, but it's like every time that I do a painting that isn't about something that makes me mad, I feel like I have accomplished something.
Now, I might be 100% wrong on this one, but I'm still gonna toss it out there, and you can tell me I'm totally wrong. I think that up a hippopotamus's bottom was a great place to be, but I also think it's great to not be in the hippopotamus's bottom, because part of me says that a little bit of that is like just hiding in the closet, and I don't want to hide in a closet. I want to be me, and I don't want to feel like I need to be shoved in the hippopotamus's bottom, which was safe.
That is an important part of the message, and I definitely, I was aware of that going in, and I, again, like you just heard me read it once, like you haven't looked at it and spent any time with it. So
exactly, this is a one-off.
I attempted at the end, well, first of all, to stress the importance of letting the kids go. That like and my thing was that the speaker of the poem, who is a parent, is acknowledging at the end that I don't think that they never explicitly say maybe this was a mistake, but they stress that this was the right thing for your father and I to do at the time. And it definitely, this choice was made before the children were born. And that they have acknowledged that this is definitely, there is no reason to assume that this is what the kids need. Right. And they implore the kids, please stay for a while. Stay until you're strong. But that you can go and you should go. And if you want to come back, you can. Because it definitely is like they run away. Like that's what happens. Like it's like they run away and go up a hippopotamus's bottom and do something amazing. But they still, like, they start by like seeding ground, you know, like they were here doing their thing, and then the bad people were like, you suck, and they were like, okay, bye. So it's a tightrope. That's one of the things that I want to keep in mind as I'm revising, is because I definitely don't want to, even in the context of a story that is about living inside a hippo's ass, I don't want to like teach a bad lesson.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I totally know what you mean, and that's why I wanted to ask. And again, I've only heard it the one time, and
No, but I mean you're right. I mean you identified something that is an inherent danger of this specific story.
yeah,
And hopefully that in the end it comes across that this was a choice that was made that was right for the people who made it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's right for everybody. And you should, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get it too sidetracked, but also there might should be like a more explicit standing up to a bully, which clearly doesn't occur within this poem. But I don't want it to
yeah.
be about that, because then you run like how the hell do you get up a hippopotamus's bottom if you just stand up for yourself? Well, Ted, it's been a whole year of making
One
this
whole
show. Not one day of which was spent up a hippopotamus's bottom.
I know I haven't been in one.
Any regrets?
I mean, I've got regrets, but I'm actually full of happiness right now, and forward momentum, doing good, enjoying life. How about yourself?
I am trying real fucking hard.
Well, living in Eastern Oregon's a bit of a bitch.
It is bad for me psychologically frequently. I mean, what else can I say? It is a scary place to live sometimes, and I'm not good at detaching. I suffer from empathy, and sometimes that sucks.
Perhaps you should embrace sociopathy.
If I had that option, I might, because I'm weak sometimes. But no, I don't get to do that. It's a scary time. This podcast is one of the things that doesn't suck about life here in general. So I'm grateful that we get the opportunity to do it.
Me too. And I know that I've been so goddamn busy with a bunch of other shit that I've been missing it more weeks than I intend to. And I need to get, I need to make sure that we can have a weekly opportunity for this, because I love it. And God damn it, I miss talking to you. I know that we don't live directly next to each other and we don't have the actual face-to-face time, but this makes the world a hell of a lot better, Matt.
It really does. And anyone out there, start a podcast with your brother, because it's a great way to keep in touch.
It's
And
important.
it makes me feel less crazy. And it can feel pretty crazy here sometimes.
It's a thing.
Eastern Oregon can be a lonely place for those who are not black of heart.
Well, it's a bad place for some people who are black of skin too, because that's a sundowner town you live in.
I would be terrified. Like, I just can't even imagine how much scarier it is in a place like this.
Yep.
I'm pretty fucking white, and I mean I'm freaked out enough. And if I could, I mean, I can look more straight.
You ready to talk about sports ball?
I have never been ready to talk about sports ball.
Well, I don't know. I see somebody wearing a baseball cap behind you.
That's actually a trucker cap, and it features a picture of a giant curly mustache on horseback
What about that guy in a tracksuit?
because it's mustache rides.
What about the guy in the tracksuit?
That's not a tracksuit. That is racing gear because he is an interdimensional race car driver and also a dog.
I'm pretty sure I see antlers behind your trucker cap, bro.
There is a mask on the wall, which is a grasshopper with huge antlers.
Fucking nerd.
I like putting horns where they don't belong. I have a little pig mask with antlers too.
All right. Well, and you see no sports behind me, so I think that we're probably safe to say here that we are not the sportsing type.
No, I've been to a baseball game. I didn't care for it.
Yeah, that's mostly for what's going on around it. If you care about that type of thing, but
I did not.
for the baseball.
I did not care about any of it. I don't know, it was sort of an interesting experience to have done. It was with Uncle Jim when I was like 14. But yeah, I didn't really get anything out of the experience other than having the experience.
I was sad to miss out on Thomas's wedding last weekend, but Erica was sick and I was not gonna try and deal with any of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know any of them. The whole, yeah, the like all of the kids like your and Ian's age and younger. I haven't, if I've met them at all, I haven't seen them since they were very young.
Right.
And some of them I definitely haven't met at all. I don't think that I mean, Molly and Jackson, like, they were tiny. I think the last time I saw them, I think.
Right. Nah, and it makes sense. Until I was in my mid-20s, there were a lot of the Fagin side of the family that I didn't know. And I was really happy to start recreating that connection. But I mean, that's kind of what happens a lot of the time with divorce anyway. And
yeah,
it's life. And
well, I mean, we're sort of spread out. And I mean, I was in Chicago for a long ass time.
That was kind of a big deal. I mean, I hadn't seen you in like, well, I mean, again, that last picture that we made before Ian died.
Yeah.
That had been over a decade since we'd all been in the same room together.
Yeah.
And then it was going to be like recreating that decade picture. Which is a fucking killer picture.
I mean, it's a good picture.
God,
it really is.
I'm smiling like a real picture smile right now. Because I know how terrible it is.
Yeah, I mean,
you gotta embrace tragedy with comedy.
I don't really know how else to do it. I mean, that's I mean, there's a reason that I used that picture as the basis for the logo for this podcast.
One must.
It's inescapable. It's a very important part of this entire process. I mean, we explicitly started this show as a reaction, and I don't know what else it could be, and that's why it is perfectly fine to barely talk about a movie because it's not always about that.
Hey, it's a thing right now. It's been a few weeks since we've recorded. It's been pretty busy on my end, and I haven't ended up having a time that it worked out intelligently to record, and we've tried and failed miserably multiple times. Rather, I've tried and I've failed miserably multiple times.
Well, you also got sick, which is, that's part of it.
That was pretty rough. But and I don't generally get sick, but god damn it.
Well, I mean, if you're going to do it, you just do it all the way.
Yeah.
I get
Not a
that.
fan.
How long ago was it? Have I had a colonoscopy since the last time we recorded?
Sure did.
I guess it has been a minute, huh? Yeah,
Yeah.
that was fun. I had my first colonoscopy, and then the following week, my partner Bill had his colonoscopy. It was
Ah, shit. I thought that Bill had the first one and then it was you. Man,
no, he's had one before, so
Ah.
he had the first one in that sense. Because Bill is 70, and so he is hoping like this should be his last one because unless generally speaking, since they do them every 10 years, unless there's some like actual reason, they generally they don't do it the after the 71. They don't do it on 80-year-olds unless they really need to.
So
So,
essentially what you're trying to tell me is colonoscopies aren't fun?
it wasn't the best. I like okay. I'm told that the prep is better now than it used to be. I mean, basically, like it's what you expect. Like you just take a bunch of laxatives and like shit liquid for a day, and it's horrible. I mean, it's no fun at all. I
Okay.
had to, yes, basically, in a 24-hour period, you take like 14 days worth of this laxative product.
I love evil.
And it is exactly the nightmare that you are envisioning right now. It's a very unpleasant experience. You can only there's no food. You have to just drink clear liquids for that whole 24 hours.
So it's
So
like eating sugar-free fucking gummy candies.
it's fasting and shitting liquid.
Yeah.
And then the part that I was like, I knew what to expect. I wasn't looking forward to it, but it's manageable. The thing that I was less looking
Hold
forward
on,
to.
hold on, just for a second. This is Matt and Ted versus colonoscopy.
Versus colonoscopy. Who's gonna win? I, having never had any kind of surgery or anything, I have never been drugged to sleep before. So I was just kind of generally nervous about that because I didn't know what was going to happen. I have no idea if I have any sensitivity to anything. So I was just kind of like, I was hesitant. And everyone was like telling me it's going to be fine, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't. I apparently, what I recall, they're putting me to sleep. And the next thing that I'm aware of is throwing up and being made to sit up so that they can finish having me barf and then use a portable chest x-ray on me to make sure that I haven't aspirated my own vomit during this process. So that was cool. I didn't have a great time with that. Apparently, I have at least a little bit of sensitivity to something, and and it was gross, and it took a lot out of me, and it took like 12 solid hours for me to start feeling a little bit normal. Like I was wiped, and I felt sick, and it was awful. Like the 12 hours after the colonoscopy was definitely worse than the 24 hours leading up to the colonoscopy.
All right, now I'm gonna have to backtrack here a little bit. Didn't you have root canal? Haven't you had wisdom teeth removed?
My wisdom teeth were removed using gas. So I was actually it was like a is that what they call twilight sleep where I was aware.
Yeah, they insisted that I be put under for that, and the amount of drugs that they gave me weren't enough because I'd been. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna talk about it on this. Uh, I had built up an immunity to iocane powder
Uh-huh.
that somebody had dosed me with a lot,
Fun.
so I wasn't under um all the way because I'd been dosed. But
I
yeah.
I was semi-conscious for my whole wisdom teeth procedure. My root canal, I was also awake, and it was weird. They were like, so they kept shooting me up with the painkiller, um, and then they would start, and I could still feel it, and they would shoot me up, and they would start, and I could still feel it, and that happened like 3 times, and so finally they they take their weird needle and they go back there, and I can feel, I can still fully feel the needle probing around even, and then so I had, this was because there was a molar had rotted away at the back when I still had my wisdom teeth and I couldn't get between.
Right.
So there was just basically the last molar on the upper right, just the back was, it was just open, and so she's poking around in there, and then I feel something solid give away. And then I'm aware in this weird way that the needle,
I hate this story.
the needle has entered a space in my body that has never been penetrated before. And then I feel the strangest sensation of liquid hitting the actual physical.
Stop for just a second. Give me just one opportunity, and I'm not going to apologize for this at all. Think back and re-listen to everything that you just said and understand that this is that's what she said.
Understood. Yeah, well, I mean, the word penetrate has already invited that. And now there's this liquid spraying.
You did it.
Dr. Roxana Kagani did it.
Apparently.
I feel liquid hitting the actual physical nerve ending. And she says the words, and I can't say this without like declaring it like a weird evil queen. I am now injecting directly into the nerve chamber. And immediately the entire right side of my face was just dead, just completely dead. And it was dead for hours. And I felt nothing when they did that root canal. It was the craziest thing. Yeah, that was...
Sounds like a Dr. Caligari experience.
I was fully conscious and it was fucked up. But I was apparently very, very sensitive, and it took a lot to kill that nerve because it was inflamed as shit. But you know, if you ever need to stop feeling, all you got to do is inject directly into the nerve chamber, Ted.
Now, when I had my wisdom teeth taken out, when I didn't really want to go under, but insurance covered everything, and the doctor was like, "Do you want to be put under? Do you want to be awake?" And I was like, "Honestly, I'd rather be awake, but this is your job, and I don't want to make your job any more difficult than it is. So you tell me what's best." And he said, "I'd rather put you under." Like, well, I mean, then do what you gotta do. I just want these bad teeth taken out that are causing me problems. And he's like, all right, well, then we'll do that. It's going to cost it was like $96 or whatever. It wasn't a lot more to get the job done on my end. And when they were putting me under, I'm looking around and I start looking about and I'm like, hey, pretty sure the walls aren't melting, right? And the anesthesiologist pats me on the shoulder and says, that's the good stuff. It's like, I don't think it is. And then I wake up a while later. I've been listening to and feeling all the horrible things happening. and I just reach over and start patting. I'm like, hey, 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 hey. I think that was 4 teeth already. Are we done yet? And they're like, no, that was 3 teeth. I'm like, it felt like 4. Like, nah, it was 3. I was like, can we wrap it up? I don't like it.
Oh, God.
And I don't know if any of that had anything to do with it, but holy shit, man. I was not out, and it was not pleasant. And then for 6 months, I was pulling with pliers chunks of my teeth and my jawbone out of my jaw with pliers is not a fun thing to pull protrusions out with, but 6 months of it was bullshit.
That doesn't sound like a very good dentist.
I don't recommend them. And I do tell people who they were.
Good.
And
You should.
Not them.
I
because
do.
They didn't clean out my socket.
Yeah, that is fucked up. I recommend Dr. Roxana Kagani from Chicago. She actually did a marvelous job. Weirdly, she actually helped me out on multiple occasions, and I was fucking uninsured all the time, and she accommodated me. She was like very, very helpful. It was like I was so lucky. Because I had a couple of like really fucked up experiences, and like the last one, like I've had like 3 teeth extracted just because I was uninsured, and it was way cheaper than getting fillings, and they were pretty bad. It was like if I had a root canal, it was going to cost me like $1,200, but an extraction was like $75. So I did that a couple of times, and once I went to the dentist who had opened up near my comic book store, and I said I need this extraction, and so he tried to do it, and he failed. He managed to move it so that my mouth no longer closed without hitting the entire biting surface of the tooth.
I hate this story.
It was so
you are causing me goosebumps right now.
It has a happy ending.
Doesn't have a happy ending to me. Maybe you had the happy ending. Holy shit, dude.
It doesn't get better first. So he tries to pull this tooth for like 45 minutes, and he can't. And so he gives me some painkillers, and I go away, and I call Dr. Roxana Kagani, and she can see me tomorrow. And so I have to live with this tooth for almost 24 hours. And then I go to Roxana Kagani, and I don't know what I'm going to do because I can't afford this. And it's actually so fucked up that she herself uses her staff oral surgeon instead of doing it. And the oral surgeon comes in, and this guy is just like, I don't know what the difference was between this fucking dentist by my store and this guy, but he comes in, he spends more time injecting me with painkillers than he does on the entire procedure. Like he knows he's very careful. He's like, knows exactly what to do to kill this precise area that he needs. And then he takes like 2 tools, and he reaches into my mouth, and he's like, bzz, 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 and then it's done. It's just done. It takes like 20 seconds to remove this tooth. And here's what's even more amazing is Dr. Roxana Kagani charges me what the bullshit dentist by my comic book store quoted me, because she knows, because I had called her in tears the day before, and she charges me what he was going to charge me. which was like $75 instead of the hundreds of dollars for the oral. Like, I am 100% certain that the painkillers she injected into my mouth would have cost more than that extraction.
I am sure that you are right on that.
And holy fuck, that was a nightmare. Why are we talking about this?
I don't know, but we're going to keep doing it for just a half of a second because, dude, I had 2 child molars that weren't going to come out because the roots weren't dissolving. And so apparently I had to have them removed. And I went to a dentist in Le Grand, where you live. I don't remember which one it is. It doesn't matter. That was a terrible person. I had 2 molars that needed to be removed from my mandible, my lower molars. They were my child molars, and the dentist numbs me up, and he grabs one of them with the pliers. And I, as a 10-year-old with my molars that aren't coming out, begin to complain about the pain. And he says, "That doesn't hurt. I've numbed you up."
The fuck?
And I said, "No." Well, rather, I probably said, "No, it does hurt." He's like, "No, it doesn't." And he yanked it out. And he looks at it and sees the long fucking roots on it. And says, "Wow, I bet that did hurt."
Yeah, fuck you, asshole.
And then he moved over to the other side as quick as he could and yanked the other motherfucker out. And hey, guess what, Matt? I'm pretty good with going to dentists.
Did you tell our mother that he had done that?
Yeah.
Did she care?
I don't remember the reaction that she had. But hey, you know, I've been to dentists after. And
holy shit.
That was my second to worst dentist experience. I guess I'll share the other one another time. Let us carry on with Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Have you even tried evil?
Dentists.
I think it's pretty clear
Evil
that we're not really saying much about Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
I know, but I thought it was funny.
It's a good movie though. People should watch it. It has little to do with dental horror. There are
the reality here is we're just talking about our podcast and getting started a year ago. But
it's it's a bit more freeform this episode than most of the time. We are prone to staying more on topic than this usually. Again, like a movie like Tucker and Dale doesn't really need that much from us, I don't think. You know what I mean? It's a solid little movie. My only real criticism is what I talked about with the climax. And it's other than that, it's just a really fun ride. I am generally impressed with most of the casting, and specifically the leads of Alan Tudyk and Tyler Labine they're amazing. It's actually a sort of an understated performance from Alan Tudyk. I mean, Tyler Labine is the main character. Dale is really the hero. Weird, yeah. It's kind of weird. Like Alan Tudyk is playing second fiddle, and he's kind of like. I mean, maybe it feels understated because I'm so used to him now on Resident Alien, which is such a weird and kind of extreme performance, even in its more casual and understated moments. That his character in Tucker and Dale is very he's very steady. He's just a guy, you know. He's a very normal bloke. couple of best friends who are looking for a vacation cabin. They're just a couple of lovely guys, and I hope for the best for them. It really is a marvelous movie, and it's rewarding, even though it's really only one joke. I mean, the movie is built on the one joke of these kids getting themselves, just basically killing themselves in a series of absurd mishaps that could be easily misconstrued. And I think that I don't know. I've only seen it a couple of times. If I watched it over and over again, would it become less rewarding? I'm not sure. I feel like it certainly rewards revisiting it, because you can appreciate some more of the subtlety there, because they are really cleverly constructed sequences that take different approaches to achieve the same kind of effect. And it's a really well built machine, and I just wish that it had kind of found a way at the end to also go in a really unexpected direction, and it didn't, but it's, you know, it's still really good.
Yeah, they wrapped it in a way where the bow on it wasn't very great, but
No, it's it, it's such a good ride
yeah,
that I don't, like, I don't resent it, you
yeah.
know. I
Sometimes the kids aren't very good at like stretching the scissors on the little ribbon to make it pretty. And it turns out really fucky, and it's like, oh well, that's a straight ribbon rather than the pretty
Yeah,
curly one that you were trying to aim for. They didn't curly up the ribbon,
no, but
but it was a really fun, you got to where you wanted to get, and then you're like, well, it was still good,
yeah,
still good.
exactly. It's still good. And
I love the movie.
I'm kind of, they talked about doing a sequel off and on for a while. I'm kind of glad that they just haven't. This is, I I didn't want them, I didn't want to see them rush into doing a follow-up, because there was momentum with this movie when it came out. And
You mean like with the Goonies?
I don't think that anyone can accuse them of rushing into a follow-up.
Well, I mean, they could have. They kind of like backburnered that shit for 40 years.
They talked about it off and on for a long ass time, and I still think it's a mistake.
I still don't think they're going to actually do it.
I, I mean, I honestly, I hope something goes wrong. I hope something goes. I mean, not like somebody dies. I just hope so.
Well, I mean, a lot of them already have.
Not the Goonies themselves, though. If you had to kill off one Goonie to prevent the movie from happening, Ted, which Goonie would you kill and how?
This might necessitate an entire episode. I'm not even joking.
It may be worth a conversation, yes.
I will do this with you. By the way, the last time I actually revisited, or not revisited, the last time I visited something like this, Bob Barker died within a week.
Oh, so you think you were going to kill a Goonie?
No, I'm just saying that we need to think hard about this. And I need to figure out which one needs to really die. And then, if
All
it's a
right.
thing, and my mind bullets kill a Goonie, we'll have to take note.
All right, it's a done deal. We're gonna do it. I'm gonna put this conversation into the recording, and everyone's gonna hear you. So you're gonna be
Then
committed.
we're going to have an episode called "To Kill a Goonie."
Actually, no one's going to hear you because they're all going to stop listening when we begin talking about our dental horrors, and they won't. They won't make it
to this shit other than us.
Well, what if someone discovers it one day, Ted?
Hey, maybe hey, how many people are following us right now?
I don't know, one.
I don't know. I don't know any algorithms.
I don't either. I don't know how to promote a podcast.
Yeah, you just
I just put it out there, and then find it or not, whatever.
Someday it'll happen, or not.
Live your own life. I'm not going to make you listen to this podcast.
Yeah. Fuck
But
'em.
if you want to make people listen to it, that's fine.
Which Goonie am I going to kill with my mind bullets?
All right. Well, we have a lot to think about now.
Which Goonie do you want me to kill with my mind bullets, Matt?
I'm gonna have to think about that too. I'm not. I don't know. I mean, they all have. I feel like a good argument could be made for any of them. So we're gonna give it some serious thought. We're gonna have to weigh the pros and cons of each Goonie in order to arrive at a proper conclusion. So,
True.
So yeah, that's what like 7 Goonies. I think that's a lot of Goonies.
Yeah. Some of them are already probably dead.
Because no, there's no dead Goonies.
No.
There's dead Fratellis.
Well, son of a bitch. I guess we're gonna have to think real hard.
Yeah, exactly. So I will send you a list of names.
This sounds really bad.
I will send you a list of 7 names.
All right.
And 7 weapons.
Let's preface this in another way. This is not Master Detective Clue.
Are you sure? Cannon Beach Edition.
Oh, fuck. All right. I will meet you in Cannon Beach in 2 weeks.
We'll have to save some surprises for the actual episode.
Exactly.
Coming soon to Kill a Goonie. All right. I love you, Ted.
I love you too, Matt. This has been an episode absolutely not about what we prefaced it for.
Yes, no. This has taken nothing but unexpected turns. And yes, so obviously, watch Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's excellent. And that was the whole point. That's all we had to say.
All right.
All right. Fantastic.
I'll talk to you again next time.
Yes, I look forward to seeing what the fuck happens next time. Good night, Ted. I love you too. Bye.
Bye.
The Depot Devoid is that place your mind goes when you've lost your train of thought, but you haven't found a new one. The Depot Devoid Podcast is hosted by Matt Fagan and Ted Fagan. Depot Devoid is not hosted by Ian Fagan because he died and we miss him. Find our full video episodes at Depot Devoid Podcast on YouTube. On social media, you can find us at Depot Devoid Podcast on Blue Sky, and for now, still on Facebook and Instagram. Or you can email us at depotdevoidpodcast@gmail.com. And of course, you can listen to the show on all of your favorite podcast platforms.
Why are we talking about this?